何
I'm Amir. I'm a Souls YouTuber and community member, and I've basically done, for the past 2 years, content primarily focused on PvP stuff, and specifically the more inner mechanics and more interesting concepts around them, rather than just going into guides on builds and stuff like that. One of the more recent ones was where I looked into the mechanic of aim punch, and this ends up affecting the hitbox of your weapon and sometimes even makes you miss. But when I made that video too, I didn't just sort of say, hey, this is the bug. It's kind of dumb, but I also I did a tangent on why it's definitely not intentional and there would be like no reason for this to exist. And I also provided solutions for how it could be fixed, from the easiest one to one that would be more advanced, but would be probably just better overall. When I was just like hanging out with a friend and I had the thought hey, what would be a funny 3v3 strategy? Like, what if you had 3 people all doing this funny B-hop strategy where you basically take the heavy thrusting sword, which is really good if you just have a lot of airtime, you're just hopping around, and then I'm like, wait a minute, what if we made this its own sort of covenant? Because I know a lot of people in the PvP community that are really good with this strategy, and in fact are the key people who sort of innovated this strategy and even took it into tournaments or whatever. It's not obviously the most optimal way to just b-hop exclusively with it, but they could do that because they know how to, and I could teach other people to do that, and anybody could basically just pick it up by seeing what we're doing and then just picking up an HTS and then following our format. So I'm like, okay, we can do this, and then we can theme it with something. I'm like, oh right. Then there's also a hat that's bunny ears. So it's just bunnies.
Is there anything else in terms of the fashion or anything that you want to be related to your covenant?
The only thing that you need for sure is the Night Maiden's twin crown and a HTS. And your name, right? So if it's just you could, let's say, use Bloody Hellas and then name your character Bloody Bunny, Cold Infuse and call it Snow Bunny. There's just anything you could do with that. Make sure to use the bee-hopping strategy, especially with block cancel, so you can repeatedly sprint jump. Covenants are probably one of my, if we're not talking about PvP mechanics, then it's probably one of the number one things that have drawn me and kept me in this series, because it is just a brilliant way to sort of mix the RPG mechanics of the single player game with the multiplayer mechanics. In terms of player-made covenants, though, I have only heard the legends of them, especially from DS3 with the Bloodshades and whatever. I've already been in a Discord call with somebody and then just seeing them invade some random person and that person's in Saints Covenant. So it's pretty exciting to see how it actually may have that sort of effect where it's not just for that day, but that people are actually making it like it's an actual covenant. I'm gonna quickly go into a tangent of why this also sort of reinforces my other complaint about covenants is they need more ways to, well, first of all, they actually need covenants, but they need to be more creative with them. That sort of goes back to the sort of weird ideas they had with DS1 and DS2. And one of those key ones that I really like to advocate for, and I'm probably gonna do in the future, is specifically ways to get them to stay in theme. So this could be damage boost or anything that basically makes it so they're going to stay within the fashion of the covenant or the equipment of the covenant in terms of weapons and spells. That is something that I feel in the long term would just be very good for these kind of things, and would get just far many more players coming in and staying with them. In terms of my channel, generally I just want better games as a whole, and we can get future FromSoft games that are better too from the feedback that people are able to give them, and for more people to be in it and appreciate it, because it is not appreciated enough.
So Amir, where can people find your content?
youtube.com/Amir0, and on Twitch, twitch.tv/AmirThe.